Welcome to Hardcore Course in Miracles. Welcome to Hardcore Course in Miracles with Earl Purdy right here on Facebook Live. Welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Earl Purdy, and we're going to be doing Hardcore Course in Miracles. Now listen to John Christmas.
There's a call for God, I see it everywhere. Everybody's running scared, and everything is turning upside down. But the words I hear, they keep coming through from deep inside of me and you. It's telling us that love is who I am. You and me, we're not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Now let's come together and understand that Christ was born inside of every man. He's waiting for us to choose him as ourselves. When you choose him, you know you choose me too. And everyone becomes a part of you. And then you will know that love is who I am. You and me, we're not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Oh, we are one.
Want to welcome you to Hardcore Course in Miracles. This is Earl Purdy, and trying to get past my ego, trying to mess with me right now. But we're going to be doing Hardcore Course in Miracles. We're going to be doing what is the real meaning of sacrifice. What is the real meaning of sacrifice? That's what we want to work on right now. What is the real meaning of sacrifice?
You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it?
And I'm getting stuff together.
Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it. Know that we are one.
Yeah, we are one. We are one.
Oh, we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Oh, we are one. I am you, and you
want to welcome you to Hardcore Course in Miracles. It's funny how the ego tries to, I have everything together, and then as soon as I start to open myself up to getting ready to do the class, then my ego tries to mess with me. But that part of me that doesn't want me to hear the truth, that part of me is not going to win. We're going to be on what is the real meaning of sacrifice. In the Manual for Teachers, page 33, the real meaning of sacrifice. What's the real meaning of sacrifice? What does sacrifice really mean from a Course in Miracles perspective? On page 33 in the Manual for Teachers, in the Course in Miracles, the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. Now, Hardcore Course in Miracles is primarily directed toward Course in Miracles students who are studying A Course in Miracles. Everybody's welcome to listen, everybody's welcome to watch. But I just want you to know this is more hardcore than usual. And my emphasis is on remembering what the Course in Miracles is saying. My emphasis is not on analyzing A Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles says that there is one thing, there are just a few things we need to remember if we're going to study it. And in my almost 40 years of working with the Course in Miracles, I know it's telling the truth. Remember only this. Remember only this. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. 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 Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas in A Course in Miracles may startle you. Some of the ideas in the Course in Miracles may startle you. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. You are not being asked to analyze the ideas at all. You are not being asked to analyze the ideas at all. If you use the ideas in A Course in Miracles, you will see that the ideas in the Course in Miracles are true. If you use the ideas in the Course in Miracles, you will realize that the ideas in the Course in Miracles are true. Are you ready? I'm going to do the Course in Miracles in plain language. What is the real meaning of sacrifice? Although in truth the term sacrifice is altogether meaningless. The term sacrifice doesn't mean anything, but the term sacrifice does have meaning. In this world, the idea of sacrifice has meaning. Like all things in the world, like everything in this world, the meaning of sacrifice is a temporary meaning, and the meaning of sacrifice will ultimately fade into the nothingness from which it came when there is no more use for it. When there's no more use for the word sacrifice, then it's going to disappear into the nothingness that made it. But now the real meaning of sacrifice is a lesson. There's a lesson for us to learn in the real meaning of sacrifice. There's a lesson for us to learn in the meaning of sacrifice. There's a lesson for us to learn in learning the meaning of sacrifice. So right now we're going to learn the meaning of sacrifice. Welcome, my mighty companions. I'm so glad that you're online. I love your comments. I love you communicating with each other. I love you remembering that I'm the divine repetition, the divine remembrance teacher. And my goal is to allow us to really hear what the Course in Miracles is saying. And the first thing that it's telling us is that there's a lesson that we're going to learn that has to do with the term sacrifice. And so the real meaning of sacrifice is a lesson. But the Course in Miracles says every lesson, all lessons are illusions. Do you know that every lesson is an illusion? Why is it that every lesson is an illusion? Because in reality, there's nothing to learn. In reality, there's nothing for you to learn. In reality, there's nothing for you to learn. In reality, there's nothing for you to learn. Yet, the illusion of the idea of sacrifice, the illusion of sacrifice, this illusion called sacrifice must be replaced by a corrective device. So what is a corrective device that would allow us to get rid of the illusion that we have to sacrifice? What is it that we need to get rid of the idea that we need to sacrifice? What is it that gets rid of the idea that we could lose? Because the Course in Miracles defines sacrifice as another term for loss. Also, that music that you heard was John Christmas at www.johnchristmas.com. Many times people ask me about how they can get this music from A Course in Miracles. So let me go back. In the first paragraph, what is it telling us? Well, it's telling us that we're going to learn about what does sacrifice really mean. And the Course in Miracles says sacrifice is an illusion. It's something that's not real. But it also says that this illusion must be replaced by a corrective device, another illusion that replaces the first illusion, so both illusions can disappear. So the idea of sacrifice is a false idea. And so we need another false idea to erase the false idea of sacrifice. An illusion is a false idea. It's something that we want to believe is true so much that we make it true to us even if it's not true. So there's no such thing as loss. There's no such thing as loss. There's no such thing as sacrifice. There's no such thing as sacrifice. But do you know that the Course is saying that if we want to get rid of the idea of sacrifice, we need another false idea to help us get rid of the idea of sacrifice. So the first illusion which must be displaced, the first false idea that must be displaced before another thought system can take hold. So what is the first idea that we've got to get rid of before we can have a brand new way of thinking take place? So what is the wrong, false, untrue idea that we have that we've got to let go of before the new thought system of the Course in Miracles that gives us love? Before we can have the thought system and the way of thinking that gives us only love, there is a false idea that we have to let go of. Before you can experience love, before you can experience peace, before you can experience joy, real peace, there's a false idea that you have to let go of. So what is the first false idea? What is the first illusion that we must let go of before a brand new way of thinking can really take hold? Well, the first illusion, the first idea that we need to let go of is that it's a sacrifice to give up the things of this world. It's a false idea to believe that it's a sacrifice to give up things of this world. It's an illusion. It's a false idea. It's not true that you lose by giving up things in this world. It's not true that you lose when you give up things of this world. You do not lose when you give up things of this world. It's not a sacrifice to give up the things of this world. If you believe that it's a sacrifice to give up the things of this world, then you believe a false idea. If you believe that it's a sacrifice to give up the things of this world, you believe something that's not true. The first false idea, the first illusion that we have to let go of is that it's a sacrifice to give up the things of this world. What could this be but a false idea, to believe that it's a sacrifice to give up things of this world, since this world itself is nothing but an illusion? This world is a false idea. This world is an illusion. This world is not the ultimate reality. This world is not the ultimate reality. This world is not the ultimate reality. So to give up things of this world and think that that's a loss is a false idea. What could this be but an illusion, since this world itself is nothing more than an illusion? Do you know how hard it is for a part of my mind to say that to you? To look at you and say, you know what? I'm going to tell you what the real meaning of sacrifice is. You really want to know what the real meaning of sacrifice is? Well, I'm going to teach you a lesson about what sacrifice means. So before we can get rid of the idea of sacrifice, we got to tell you that you got to get rid of a false idea. If you really want to stop losing, if you really want the new thought system that the Course in Miracles is teaching, if you really want the peace, if you really want the miracles that the Course in Miracles is promising, you have to give up the idea that it's a sacrifice to give up things of this world. It takes great learning. It takes great learning. Do you see what it says in the paragraph 2? It takes great learning both to realize and to accept the fact that the world has nothing to give. So it takes a whole lot of learning to realize that the world has nothing to give. The world has nothing to give. It takes great learning. It takes great learning to accept the fact that the world has nothing to give you. The world has nothing to give you. Now, the Course in Miracles defines the world as a false perception. The Course in Miracles defines the world as a false perception, a perception that is not true. You're seeing something that's not ultimately true. So the Course in Miracles says it takes great learning both to realize that the false perception has nothing to give, and it takes great learning to accept the fact that a false perception has nothing to give. And the world, according to the Course, is a false perception. Take a breath. I want y'all to hear this. I want you to, I can feel the parts of the mind that wants to analyze and wants to go, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, or there's a part of the mind maybe telling you that, oh my God, this is just another one of those teachings that teach you that there's something wrong with all of the things in the world, that you have to give up everything in the world in order to have real and true happiness. And the world is a false perception. The Course in Miracles teaches that the world is a false perception. So when it says you have to give up the world, it means you have to give up your false perceptions. You have to give up your false perceptions. And it's not a sacrifice to give up your perceptions of fear or your perceptions of guilt or your perceptions of lack. That if you want to be happy, if you want a brand new way of thinking to really sink in, the Course says it takes great learning both to realize and to accept the fact that the world has nothing to give. What can the sacrifice of nothing mean? It can't mean that you have less if you sacrifice nothing. And you're sacrificing nothing if you sacrifice the world. If you sacrifice your false perceptions, if you sacrifice your false ways of seeing things, then you're not giving up anything. You're not going to lose by letting go of your fearful perceptions. You're not going to lose by letting go of your false perceptions. What can the sacrifice of nothing means? It can't mean that you have less because you have sacrificed nothing. So what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? It means that there's no sacrifice in the world's terms that does not involve the body. Every time somebody thinks about sacrificing, the Course in Miracles says that there's no sacrifice that you can think of that doesn't involve the body. There's no sacrifice that you make that doesn't involve the body. Any sacrifice that you make is a sacrifice of something that involves the body. Think a while about what the world calls sacrifice. So we're being told to do what? Let's think a minute about what is it that the world calls a sacrifice? What is it that the world calls a sacrifice? This is what the world calls sacrifice: power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. So, there's a part of the mind that believes that in order to get back to God, in order to get back to your true spiritual identity, that you have to sacrifice power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. So the Course says, think about what the world calls sacrifice. It thinks that sacrifice involves power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. In order for me to reach God, in order for me to reach the truth, in order for me to wake up, it looks like I'm going to have to give up power. It looks like I might have to give up fame. It looks like I might have to give up money. It looks like I might have to give up physical pleasure. So the Course in Miracles says that what the world calls sacrifice is power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. What is the main thing that people in the world do not want to lose? People in the world who have forgotten that they are spiritual beings. People in the world who have forgotten that they are not bodies. People in the world who think that they are bodies. People in the world who think that they are separate. People in the world who have forgotten that they are not bodies, regular human beings. They think that it would be a big loss and it would be a big sacrifice to give up power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. And the Course in Miracles says, who is the hero to whom power, fame, money, and physical pleasure belong? Could power, fame, money, and physical pleasure mean anything except to a body? Power, fame, money, and physical pleasure only means something to the body. Power, fame, money, and physical pleasure only means something to somebody who thinks that they are a body. Power, fame, which is specialness, and money and physical pleasure, could they mean anything except to a body? Yet a body can evaluate. It's not a body that judges. It's not a body that evaluates. It's not a body that judges. It's not a body that evaluates. Do you know by seeking for power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, you are associating yourself with the body? By seeking power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, your mind is associating itself with the body. The more I want power, the more I want money, the more I want physical pleasure, the more I want fame, the more I want specialness, it makes me think I am just a body. Wanting power, fame, money, and physical pleasure associates my mind with being a body, and it makes me think that I am a body. If all I want is power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, if that's all I want, then it makes me think I'm a body, because all of those things mean something to somebody who thinks that they are a body. So when you associate your mind with the body because you're looking for power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, it obscures your identity and you lose sight of what you really are. So what is it that makes you lose sight of being a spirit? What is it that makes you lose sight of being something beyond the body? What makes you lose sight of your true identity? What makes you lose sight of your true unlimited spiritual identity is your focus on seeking and putting most of your attention on acquiring power, fame, which is specialness, and physical pleasure. Power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. Power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. If I'm looking for power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, then it's going to make me think I'm just a body, because it's only a body that really wants power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. And the minute I think that I'm just a body, then I forget who I really am. When I think I'm just a body, I've forgotten what I am. When you think you're just a body, you have forgotten what you are. When you think you're just a man or a woman, you've forgotten what you are. If you think you're just a man or a woman, you've forgotten what you really are. If you think you're just a man or a woman that can get sick, you've forgotten what you really are. If you're seeking for power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, and that's your primary goal, and that's what you focus on all the time, then the Course in Miracles says you are associating yourself with your body, and you will think you are your body, and then you lose sight of who you really are as a spiritual being. You don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it, you don't have to like it. But this is what the Course in Miracles is saying. The reason why, that's right, Joanne, thinking that you're just a body makes you forget who you really are. But what is it that makes you think you're a body? What makes you think that you're a body is that you value power, money, fame, and physical pleasure more than anything else. And when all you think about is physical pleasure, when all you think about is money, when all you think about is being special, when all you think about is power and control, then it makes you associate your mind with the body, and then you lose sight of who you are beyond the body. And so now you will believe you are a body, and when you believe you are a body, then you lose sight of who and what you really are. And that is what you are looking at. You're looking at beings who are spiritual beings who have forgotten that they are spiritual beings. So now they think they are bodies that are seeking power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. That's what you're looking at. And those people who believe that they are bodies think it would be a sacrifice if you told them that it is not a loss for them to give up power, money, fame, and physical pleasure as a goal. So, once this confusion has occurred, now what is the confusion that has occurred? You now think you are a body. You now think that you are just a human being. You now think that you're a person that's separate from other people. Once this confusion has happened, what confusion? You've forgotten that you are one with everything you see. You've forgotten that you are not a body. You've forgotten that you are a spiritual being that is eternal. You may have forgotten that you never die. You may have forgotten that you are only love. You may have forgotten that you are totally innocent and totally guiltless. You may have forgotten that everything that seems to happen to you, you ask for and receive as you have asked. You may have forgotten that. You may have forgotten that because you have sought power, money, fame, and physical pleasure as a primary goal, and therefore associated yourself with thinking that you are a body, and so you've lost sight of your true identity as a child of God, and you've forgotten who you really are. So now you think you are a man or a woman or a mother or a father or a secretary or a doctor or a lawyer or a plumber or a father or a son, a daughter, a wife. You are completely lost in false ideas about what you are. You've forgotten what you really are. You're really not a body. You're really free. You have a body. You have a body. But the purpose of your body is to allow God's voice, love's voice, to speak through your body, to extend through your body to other human ears, so you can help other people wake up to the realization that they are spirit too. So the Course says once this confusion has occurred, the once you really think you are a body, the once you really think you are just a physical body, it becomes impossible for your mind to understand that all the pleasures of the world are nothing. So why is it hard for people to realize all the pleasures of the world are nothing? Because they are spiritual beings who have forgotten that they're just spiritual beings, and now they believe that they are bodies that need to have power, money, fame, and physical pleasure in order to be happy. The once that you think that you're a body and you forget who you truly are, then it's almost impossible to get you to understand that to sacrifice the so-called pleasures of the world is to sacrifice nothing. To sacrifice the so-called pleasures of the world is to lose nothing. To sacrifice or to lose the so-called pleasures of the world, power, money, fame, and physical pleasure, if to lose the pleasures of the world are nothing, but it's almost impossible to recognize that to lose the pleasures of the world are nothing when you believe that you are just a human body. When you think that this body is what you are and all that you are. Now, how can you tell if you think the body is what you are and all that you are? Well, the body will be the center of your concept of yourself. You will tell me, Earl Purdy, I am a woman. Earl Purdy, I am a man. You know, in terms of male body, the way the body looks. I'm not talking about your psychological inner identity of yourself. I'm talking about the way your body looks. And you'll identify with your separate self. And so when I tell you that to give up the pleasures of the world is nothing, it'll be almost impossible to keep you from thinking that that would be a sacrifice. And so it says, it is impossible for the mind to understand that all the pleasures of the world are nothing once this confusion has occurred. But what is the confusion that's occurred? The confusion is you have forgotten that you are spirit and beyond the body and greater than the body, and now you think you are just a separate body. That is the body that grows old and dies one day, if you're lucky. The Course says if you have that perception of yourself, you've forgotten who you really are. And when you forget who you really are, then you associate yourself with having to have power, money, fame, and physical pleasure in order to be happy. And so it becomes impossible to convince you that all the pleasures of the world are nothing. And what a sacrifice, and it is a sacrifice indeed, that all this entails. So now this is really deep, y'all, and I'm giving you some deep stuff. And I know I'm giving you some deep stuff. And that's okay. That's why you can see it on replay. That's why you can go back to the book and you can read it and you can study it and all of that. That's my purpose right now. This is hardcore Course in Miracles. This is not Course in Miracles for the faint of heart. It's not going to appeal to those who are not ready to hear this yet. That's okay. That's okay. Some people are not going to be ready to hear that the pleasures of the world are nothing, that the pleasures of the world don't last. They'll think that they're being asked to sacrifice to give up the pleasures of the world. It didn't say, the Course in Miracles didn't say the pleasures of the world are something that are sinful and that you should feel guilty about if you indulge in it. The Course in Miracles didn't say that you were guilty or you were bad if you were seeking power. The Course in Miracles didn't say you were guilty and you were bad if you were seeking money. It didn't say that you were bad and guilty if you were seeking fame, which is specialness. The Course in Miracles didn't say you were sinful or bad if you were seeking the pleasures of the physical pleasures. Because you enjoy physical pleasures does not make you make you guilty. It doesn't make you bad. You're not being condemned. It's just telling you that it's nothing. That ultimately the pleasures of the world are nothing. Then it says, what a sacrifice, and this is a sacrifice indeed, all this entails. Now, the ones that you have become fooled and you've forgotten that you are more than a body, you've forgotten that you are a spiritual being, then when you think you are a body, it says, now has the mind condemned itself to seek without finding, to be forever dissatisfied and discontented. So the once that I think I'm a body, and now I'm seeking power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, then I'm always seeking for happiness, and it looks like I never find it. It looks like every time I get something, it never completely satisfies me for very long. It looks like all my life I've been looking for happiness and never really finding it on a permanent basis. It looks like every time I've ever saw anything in this world, the best it ever did was gave me some level of temporary satisfaction. So I'm always trying to find what it seems like I never really find at a permanent level. And the Course in Miracles says to us, now the mind condemned itself to seek without finding, to be forever dissatisfied and discontented, to know not what it really wants to find. If you can only be satisfied, let's say you're a creature that can only be satisfied by drinking milk, but you think you are a creature that can only be satisfied by eating hot dogs, then every time you ate a hot dog, you wouldn't be satisfied, because the truth is you are a creature that can only be satisfied by drinking milk. But since you've forgotten that you're that creature, and now you think you're the creature that needs hot dogs, then you're going to keep trying to satisfy yourself through hot dogs. And every time you eat a hot dog, you're never really satisfied, because you are not a creature that is satisfied by hot dogs. You're a creature that is satisfied by drinking milk. And this is what is an analogy that I'm trying to share with you right now. The Course is saying you are not a body. You are beyond the body. What would really satisfy you is something beyond the body, something that is beyond what you think you are. But you think you are a body. you think you are a human being. And then you've been taught that if you have enough personal power, if you have enough specialness and fame, if you get enough money, if you have enough physical pleasure, then you're going to be happy. But that's like the creature that only can be satisfied from drinking milk, trying to be satisfied eating hot dogs. And everything in the world is your hot dog. It's the thing you're trying to satisfy yourself through that can't really satisfy you because you're not the thing you think you are. You're not a human being that can truly be satisfied by power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, because what you are is the mind and the spirit, which is beyond the body. So it's not telling you that anything is wrong with anything about the physical pleasures. It's just telling you you drink milk and you keep trying to eat hot dogs. And you can get the best hot dogs that have ever been made. You can get a foot-long hot dog. But if you're a creature that needs milk in order to survive, but you think you're the creature that needs hot dogs, then no hot dog that you ever eat is truly going to satisfy you. And that's why nothing in the world truly satisfies us, because who and what we really are can only be satisfied through our connection to God and our connection to spirit and our connection to love and our connection to each other. So, I don't know how far I'll get on this, and I'll go through this until we finish it. But my inner self is telling me it's not about speed. It's really about hearing what it's saying. That's right. Our true selves can never be happy with hot dogs, because our true self was made for the milk of spirit. But you see, now I think I'm a guy. I am an unlimited spiritual being that's connected to all of you in the one self that we share. I have a physical body as a means to communicate with you so that God can speak through me, or truth can speak through me and try to reach you. If I think I am my learning device, if I think I am my body, then I'm going to try to satisfy myself through what I think gives pleasure and power to the body. So now I'm going to be seeking power, money, fame, and physical pleasure because I've associated myself with the body. The Course in Miracles says, but since I'm not a body, the only thing that's going to truly satisfy me is going to be things of the spirit, things of consciousness, things of love, things of connectedness. So if I keep on seeking power, fame, money, and physical pleasure as my goal, then it says that I'm condemning myself to be dissatisfied forever, because I am the creature that drinks milk, who now has made himself believe he's the creature that needs hot dogs. And that's what the Course in Miracles is basically saying that our dilemma is. And the Course in Miracles says, who can escape this self-condemnation? The Course in Miracles says, you're condemning yourself by constantly trying to satisfy yourself in ways that will never satisfy you. And the ways of the world, the ways of the false perception, the ways of separation will never really satisfy us. And he says, well, how can you escape this self-condemnation? How can you escape this? How can you escape this? Well, the Course in Miracles says in the very next sentence, only through God's word could this be possible. So how do you stop condemning yourself? How do you stop hurting yourself? How do you stop seeking and not finding? Listen now, it's about to answer that. The Course in Miracles always answers everything that we are wondering about if we let ourselves hear it. The Course in Miracles always answers it. Okay, so how do you escape this self-condemnation? And don't forget what the Course in Miracles calls self-condemnation. It calls self-condemnation putting yourself in a position where you're always trying to make yourself happy through things that never really make you happy. It's you constantly seeking and not finding what you're looking for. That's self-condemnation. The Course in Miracles says, no, not allowing yourself to be truly happy, not allowing yourself to be truly satisfied is self-condemnation. So how do you escape this self-condemnation? The Course in Miracles says the way that you escape this self-condemnation is through God's word. It's through the truth. It's through love's word. Now, for instance, the Course in Miracles is just one form, it's just one course in the universal curriculum. There are many, many ways to get back to the realization and the remembering of who we really are. There's a lot of ways to get back to your true self. The Course in Miracles is a path for some people. The Course in Miracles is not everybody's path. But those who are listening to me, and this is resonating to you, it is a great possibility that the Course in Miracles is your path, because the Course in Miracles is really speaking to you, and you can really relate to what the Course in Miracles is saying. Even if you may have some resistance, you still kind of at a core level resonate to what the Course in Miracles is saying. But then I would suggest that you would look at the Course in Miracles as God's word. That this is the truth that's coming to you in the form that can reach you. Not the form that can reach everybody, but truth coming to you in the form that can reach you. So it's through the Course in Miracles that you can escape condemning yourself. It's through the truth that the Course in Miracles is teaching that you can stop constantly seeking but not finding. Aren't you tired of seeking for happiness, thinking that you have it, and then watching it fade away after a short period of time? Aren't you tired of temporary happiness? Aren't you tired of temporary happiness? Aren't you tired of temporary love? Aren't you tired of temporary prosperity? Aren't you tired of temporary innocence? Aren't you tired of temporary peace? Aren't you tired of temporary health? Aren't you tired of seeking and not finding? Aren't you tired of condemning yourself by seeking and not finding? Well, it's through God's word that it's possible to cut all of that out. For self-condemnation is a decision. Condemning yourself is a decision. Condemning yourself is a choice. It's a decision about identity. And no one doubts what he believes he is. No one doubts what he believes he is. The one thing that you don't doubt is whatever you believe you are. So all condemnation is self-condemnation. And self-condemnation is a decision you've made about your identity. It's a decision you've made about what you are. And the Course in Miracles says, teach only love, for that is what you are. The Course in Miracles says you are as God created you. You are spirit. You are spirit. Your body is a communication device. Your body is a learning device. Your body is a medium of communication. Your body is a way that you communicate in this plane, in this dream. Your body is through my body that I'm communicating with you. It's through the body that I am communicating this to you. So the body is a way for me to communicate with you. The body is a way for me to communicate with you. Stop falling in love with the hammer and realize that the purpose of a hammer is to help build the house. Focus on what do you have a body for? What do you really have a body for? The body isn't a goal in itself. To get the body, to get the power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, that's not the goal. The goal is God. The goal is love. The goal is truth. Your body is what you use to join minds. The body is what you use for communication. That's the real function of the body, is to join our minds and hearts through the way that we communicate with each other. But the Course says what we do is we get so caught up in the body that we identify with the body, and then we believe we're the body, and then we just seek after power, fame, specialness, money, and physical pleasure. But it never really satisfies us because we are spiritual beings, and as spiritual beings, we can only be satisfied with fruits of the Spirit, which is true love and true peace and true oneness, which is something that is beyond the body, but it can be expressed through the body. Woo! But the Course says you can doubt all things, but you're never going to doubt what you are. So if you really believe that you are separate, if you really believe that you are a body, if you really believe that you are a man, if you really believe that you are a woman, then the Course in Miracles says, then you are going to think I'm crazy, and you won't doubt that that's what you really are, because nobody doubts what they really are. They only doubt what they don't think they are. Right? So the Course in Miracles says in the next paragraph, paragraph 4, that God's teachers, that's us, God's teachers, love's teachers, can have no regret on giving up the pleasures of the world. So when you really become an enlightened teacher, when you recognize that you are love, when you get in touch with your true sinless, guiltless spiritual identity, you will not regret giving up what the temporary pleasures of the world. that when you wake up, when you recognize who you are as a teacher of God, you may not recognize who you are as a teacher of God yet. You may be very confused about who you are. You may think that your human identity is your only identity. Then in that case, you would regret giving up the pleasures of the world. But if you are getting to the point that you are tired of seeking and not finding, if you have gotten to the point that you're tired of being dissatisfied by always seeking the things in the world that never really satisfy you, then you don't see it as a sacrifice of giving up the pleasures or the pains of the world. And then the Course in Miracles does what? It asks us a question. It says, let me see what time it is. It says, is it a sacrifice to give up pain? Is it a sacrifice to give up pain? Is it a loss to give up pain? Does an adult resent the giving up of children's toys? Do you know that do you remember that there was a time when you just gave up your toys? Do you remember that nobody actually said on such and such a date, you're going to have to give up all playing with toys? You probably don't even remember when you stopped playing with toys. All you know is there was a time you gave up playing with toys. Well, you are a God-child. And you're a godchild that's now gotten to the teenage, let's say the teenage level the older level where you're ready to give up toys. Okay, now what are the toys that you're getting ready to give up and not look at it as a sacrifice? Well, the toys that you are giving up are having to have personal power and control over everything. Fame, which is specialness. You have to be the one that's so special and better or worse than everybody else. That's a toy. Another toy is seeking money. The Course in Miracles says, seeking money is a toy. Now, that's not saying that these things will not be given to us or these things will not be provided in the way, as long as we think we need them, we're going to create them anyway. So I'm not condemning money. I'm not condemning fame. I'm not condemning anything because no loving being condemns anything. So we have to let go of the idea that we're being condemned for wanting physical pleasure, or power, or money, or fame. Love never condemns you no matter what it is you believe. But the love is saying to us, you are suffering because it looks like you're always seeking and never really finding permanent love and happiness. And I'm going to tell you why you never find permanent love and happiness. It's because when you seek after power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, you associate your mind with the body, and then you begin to think that you're a body that only needs those things, and you forget who you really are. So now you start to try to satisfy yourself through things that don't really reflect your true nature. So therefore, nothing that you get in the world ever really satisfies you, because who you really are can only be satisfied through love, through oneness, through spirit, through what's real, not through what's temporary. You are a permanent being trying to satisfy yourself through temporary things. And when you try to satisfy yourself through temporary things, then you identify with the body that is temporary, and then you seek after temporary things, and you're never satisfied because you are a permanent being, so you can only be satisfied with things that are permanent, what are eternal. That's really very simple when you think about it. It's just that it says, all right, I love it. I love it. I caught that, didn't I? All right. Woo! That's because I guess I needed a break. That's deep. Take a break, y'all. Take a breath, y'all. Good God Almighty. Spirit is like merciless in tonight's hardcore class. Woo! Woo! Those of you who are with me out there, give me some heart emojis right now. I need a few heart emojis to let me know that you're with me, that you're hanging in with me, that you're still there, that this is ringing true for somebody out there. Let me see you. Give me some comments. Give me some heart emojis. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know I'm not the only one. Let me know I'm not the only one. Thank you. 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 Do some deep breathing. Do some deep breathing. Do some deep breathing. Whew. This is just paragraph 4. You know what I'm saying? But this is a deep section, so I wasn't going to thank you all. I appreciate that, because sometimes when I'm really telling hardcore Course in Miracles from the Course in Miracles, sometimes, it's like it can be deep. It can really be deep, because the Course in Miracles doesn't value the things that we value. It's telling us the things that we value, the things that's causing us pain. And go back to the original analogy that I gave you when I said, remember when I said we're like a being that drinks milk that's trying to eat hot dogs? And so hot dogs never satisfy us, no matter how much we get the hot dog. The Course is saying that's why you're not satisfied. You are not a body. You're not a body. You're a spiritual being having a bodily experience. You are a spiritual being who is only love. You are a spiritual being that lives through connectedness that's unlimited. You are bigger than you could ever imagine. You are greater than you could ever imagine. And the Course in Miracles says that when you become a teacher of truth, you won't have any regret on giving up the so-called pleasures of the world, because you will ask yourself, is it a sacrifice to give up pain? Because when you're no longer seeking what the world values, then you're not going to have a lot of pain. Does an adult resent the giving up of children's toys? So from a Course in Miracles perspective, power, money, fame, and physical pleasure are toys. And the Course in Miracles says, does one whose vision has already glimpsed the face of Christ, does one whose vision has already glimpsed the face of love look back with longing on a slaughterhouse? The once you really wake up and you see that you are now recognizing that you're giving up all the things that's ever caused you pain, and everything that's ever caused you pain was something that was temporary, something that didn't last. That's what's always caused you pain, whether it was a love that didn't last, a job that didn't last, a weight that didn't last, a house. The Course in Miracles is saying that we go through pain because we fall in love with things that will not last. And anything that will not last, anything that is temporary, by definition, is going to give you temporary satisfaction. It's going to give you temporary joy. If it's temporary, it means it's not going to last all the time. So the Course in Miracles says that's what causes pain, because we can only be satisfied with the permanence of love. And it says, does one whose vision has already glimpsed the face of Christ look back with longing on a slaughterhouse? No one who has escaped the world, no one who has escaped fear, no one who has escaped the ego, no one who has escaped the body, no one who has escaped the false ideas about who and what we are. He says, and who has escaped the world and all the world's ills, looks back on it with condemnation. So when you really escape the world, when you really escape the pain, when you really escape the fear, when you really escape what's temporary, the Course in Miracles says you can tell, because you wouldn't look back on the world and condemn it. If you are really enlightened, if you really become a teacher of God, if you really become a really loving being, if you really have remembered who you really are, it says you would not look back on the world with condemnation. So it's no such thing as you have awakened to the loving teacher of God that you are, and you are condemning the world. If you are condemning the world, you have not. If you are condemning the world, then you are not awake yet. You are not awake yet. You have not recognized who you are if you're condemning the world. If you've escaped the world, if you've escaped all the false ideas and the false values that the world tries to put on you, and you have escaped it, he says you do not look back on the world with condemnation. What happens when you're free of the values of the world, he says, is he must rejoice. But once you escape the world and all of its requirements on you and all of its script, he says, then you rejoice that you are free of all the sacrifice the world's values would demand of you. The world's values demand that you sacrifice, that you lose, that you have things temporarily. Remember, a consciously evolving being that's remembering their spiritual identity is a being that is longing for eternal life. It's a being that no longer wants to die. It's a being that no longer wants to search for things and never find it. That's the being that's waking up. The being that says, I am not going to judge myself by the values of the world. I'm not going to judge myself by what other people think who are asleep to who they really are. I'm not going to let another human being's opinion of me really matter to me, because anybody that thinks that they are just a human being is someone that's not awake yet. And so I'm not going to let somebody that is asleep judge what it is that I should do or who I really am. So the truth is, it's to the values of the world that you sacrifice all your peace. Oh, if I think I got to have $1 million house, or I'm not really successful, that's a value of the world. So therefore, if I don't achieve that, then I don't have peace. If I think I have to have a certain look, my body has to look a certain way for me to be valuable, that's a value of the world, and that value will bring me pain. So the fact that I don't judge my value by my body and by what my body has, the Course in Miracles says that is what will give you joy. To the world's values, you sacrifice all your peace. To the world's values, you sacrifice all your freedom. And to possess the world's values, power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, the Course in Miracles says, to possess them must you sacrifice your hope of heaven, your hope of love, and sacrifice your creator and remembering your creator's love. So if I seek for power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, and I make that my real and only goal, then the Course in Miracles says it's going to cause me to lose my memory of how much my Creator loves me eternally and how I'm loved permanently, unconditionally, always. I'll lose sight of that if I make my goal just to have power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. I'll think that I'm the body. I'll forget that I'm an unlimited, beautifully loved child of God. I'll try to satisfy myself through things that are temporary and won't ever last. So therefore, I'm going to be disappointed at some point in time. And so for these values of the world, I am sacrificing my peace. For all the values of the world, the Course says you're sacrificing all your freedom because you're a slave to that job. You're a slave to the bills that need to be paid. So you really are not free when you have the values of the world. And then the Course says, who in his sane mind chooses nothing as a substitute for everything. So when you become sane, you are not going to choose things that are temporary, that don't really last, that don't give you permanent joy and happiness. You're not going to make only power, fame, money, and physical pleasure the most important thing in your life. The once you begin to recognize what's really valuable, because you are going to want a happiness and a joy and an abundance and a peace that never ends, that you can always depend on, that's going to always be there. Okay. Take a breath. Take a breath. I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to pull the card for the group that I pulled for this special message for everyone. Listen to this at least 4 times, even past any resistance that you may have. I want to thank you for tuning in to my teaching ministry. If you would like to make a financial expression of appreciation, because this is my full-time teaching ministry, I really would appreciate that. And if you would like to do that, go to www.earlpurdy.com, www.earlpurdy.com, and you can also use Venmo, and my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I appreciate you if you feel so moved to share to support this teaching ministry. Also, I'm available for one-on-one sessions where I'll take my 40 years of studying and teaching the Course in Miracles and over 45 years of being an astrologer and numerologist, if you're open to it, to a personal session between the two of us called a clarity session, where you bring to me whatever it is you would like another way of looking at in order to have more peace and joy, and we work through that together. Go to my website, look at the tab Clarity Sessions, and you can read in detail what I do, and you can book a session with me right there online. All right, on Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I do A Course in Miracles on Facebook Live on the Earl Purdy page, 1 p.m. Sunday Mountain Time. And also on Thursdays, we do hardcore Course in Miracles for Course in Miracles students. So this is primarily for Course in Miracles students. And what is the real meaning of sacrifice is one of the most powerful sections in this book. And so that's why I'm not going to rush through it. I'm not going to rush through it because we need to hear this. And so quickly, what did we hear so far? That the first thing we need to understand is, what does sacrifice really mean? What does it mean to really sacrifice? The Course says, well, it's not the meaning that we give to it. The meaning that we give to it is not the real meaning of sacrifice. The first thing that we have to understand is that it's not a sacrifice to give up the things of this world, because there's nothing in this world that truly satisfies us, because there's nothing in this world that really lasts permanently, and that we are eternally loving, powerful, unlimited spiritual permanent beings. And because we have been seeking after power, fame, money, and physical pleasure as a goal in and of itself, it says we have forgotten who we really are. And so now we think that we are these bodies that is forever trying to satisfy ourselves through things that never really satisfy us, like the creature that needs to drink milk that thinks it's a creature that needs to eat hot dogs. And it's time for you to stop seeking the hot dog and allow yourself to drink the milk that'll truly satisfy you. And that's going to come through the truth. That's, of course, puts it, God's word. And so the more you remember this truth that we are talking about right now, then the more freer you become. Because valuing what the world tells you you should value takes away all of your peace and takes away all of your freedom, and it never really satisfies you. And you know that's the truth. Every one of you know that that's the truth. So what is the card for the group that I am supposed to share with you? Right quick. Okay, let's see. What is the message for the Mighty Companions? And don't forget, watch this at least 4 times. And share it. Please share this video. Please, 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 please. Okay. So let's see. What is the message for tonight? I am the light of the world. The message for you tonight is to tell yourself, I am the light of the world. I am the truth of the world. I am the love of the world. These are all alternative definitions of the word light. Light, I am the spirit of the world. I am the love of the world. I am the truth of the world. If there's going to be any truth in this world, it has to come through us. We are the truth of the world. We are the light of the world. When you remember the truth, then you are being the light of the world, because all of our minds are joined. So whatever goes into your mind goes into everyone's mind. So this is what it says. It says, I am the light of the world. That is my only function. That is why I am here. I am the light of the world. That is my only function. That is why I am here. You are the light of the world. That is your only function. That is why you're here. So what does that mean? It means that your responsibility is to remember the truth for everybody. Remember what? Remember that they are not bodies, that they are free. Remember that you are not a body, you are free. You are the light of the world. That means you are not a body, you have a body, you have a communication device, you have a way to reach others, you have a way to communicate the truth, which is what I'm using my body for, right? So the Course is saying you are the light of the world. If love is going to be real, love has to come through you. If the truth is going to be real, the truth has to come through your body. Your body is a medium of communication. So say, I am the light of the world. Let's say that for a minute. I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. I am not a body. I am free. I am the light of the world. I am not a body. I am free. I am the light of the world. I am not a body. I am free. I am the light of the world. I am not a body. I am free. I am the light of the world. I am not a body. I am free. Let's say it for each other. You ready? We're going to say it for each other. Here we go. You are the light of the world. You are not a body. You are free. You are the light of the world. You are not a body. You are free. You are the light of the world. You are not a body. You are free. You are the light of the world. You are not a body. You are free. You are the light of the world. What about we? We are not our bodies. We are free. We are the light of the world. We are not a body. We are free. We are not our bodies. We are free. We are not our bodies. We are free. We are not our bodies. We are free. You are not your body. You are not your body. You are not your body. You are not a body. You are not a body. You are not the body. You are not the body. You are not the body. You are free. 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 Woo! Woo! That was intense. That felt so good. I love all the comments you've been making. I read all of the comments. I love how you're communicating with each other. We are a family. We are the mighty companions. We are the mighty companions. And I so appreciate all of you sharing this video. This was intense. This was intense. So read this section. Read the whole section. What is the real meaning of sacrifice? So as I go through it with you, you will also have read it. Page 33 in the Manual for Teachers in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. I love you. I appreciate you. And don't forget, your part is essential in God's plan for salvation.